everybody. Welcome to EventSpeak with me, Big John, CEO of Beyond Experiential. EventSpeak is eventspeak.com. We are a virtual community, a social network specific to the event industry on many different facets. While it's essentially centered in the experiential and brand aspect of events, concerts and music, everything across the board is now part of what the EventSpeak world is and is going to be. And I'm really excited today for our guest, as he's a dear friend of mine and somebody that comes all the way from Russia with love, Mr. Feudor Lockshin. He is a professional musician, professional drummer, just outside of Moscow. And joining us today all the way there, must be pretty late. Feudor, thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, Big John, good to see you. Yeah.
Good to see you too, man. Good to see you too. How are things out there in Russia? Now, just to clarify, you're essentially in Moscow. And as I just stated, you're a pro musician, definitely part of the event world. How has COVID-19 affected everything there? Like, give me an idea what the climate in Russia is right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess the situation here is pretty much similar to States, except maybe a few things that we still don't get any like financial help from the government. So everyone is on their own for now, and we're waiting for, I don't know, for some changes or something. So I think they reacted pretty late. I think that the situation was kind of clear already in January, I think. And what I would do, I would close the borders earlier, not to turn it into a whole disaster like it's now. And it's kind of funny to watch some of the government or Putin interviews from like 2 months before saying, "Oh, we got everything under control. It's going to be fine." And now it's a fucking mess, all over the country.
Here in America, we don't know anything about that by any stretch of the imagination. Wow. So not to interrupt you. But the government is not offering any assistance to citizens right now. So there's no stimulus checks or things like that for the Russian people right now.
Yeah, they decreased some of the rents for someone, but small businesses and middle class, they really suffer much. So, and we all try to help each other out. I think it's very important to be supportive no matter what, no matter who we are to each other, because at this point we're all equal for sure in this situation. So
100%. Please go ahead.
Yeah, in terms of like music industry, of course, all the venues and everything is closed, and it's not just the music industry, it's the whole show business and like restaurants and stuff. So some of the artists, they still try to help their crew and their musicians and paying retainers. I heard Deftones are selling merch to support their crew, right?
I hadn't heard that, but I think that's awesome. I think that's
super generous and smart to do that.
Is there, because I know that you play with a lot of different artists. So for you particularly, what are you doing to try to kind of navigate these uncertain waters? I agree with you 100% that no matter where we are in the world, now more than ever, it's the time for people to be united in solidarity, especially I think folks that are amongst the event industry, which if any of you out there watching have watched any of the previous episodes and people I've talked to, I keep saying this and I'm going to keep saying this, is that's part of what we're doing here is we're trying to give everyone an opportunity to have a voice and have a place that's common to create dialogue and kind of figure out how we navigate moving forward from here. So to that point, what is Feudor doing to navigate through these uncertain times with, no end in sight right now?
To be honest, I'm just watching for now because it's all changing every day and you cannot even guess. You cannot even assume what's going to happen and how it all will turn the next day. I'm just trying to still stay creative, you know, and calm down and just chill, and not to focus on like, oh, we're all gonna die, you know, it's gonna be a disaster and stuff like that.
Sure.
And try to help out my friends, you know, who run small businesses like restaurants. So they all were supposed to close their restaurants. So I still try to order food from them.
Sure. Absolutely. We're doing something similar here to support the local restaurants and do takeout food and things like that, right?
Takeout food, yeah.
Now, with that said, I know on a personal note, you just became a dad, right?
Okay.
Oh, congratulations. And if I remember our conversation the other day, it's a little boy.
Yeah.
And how do you pronounce his name?
Vasily.
Vasily. Wow. Little Feodor's running around. That's a scary thought. Now, something else that I found interesting when we were chatting a bit before we went on camera, that you mentioned that part of also what you're doing is you're entrepreneurial minded. And Feudor is, I will say, everybody that's watching, in the time that I work from, as you guys know, I have a background in the music business. I still manage state to state here in Los Angeles, and Feudor was playing with us for a while, several years ago. And this is similar to my conversation with Brian Saliba in Las Vegas, someone that's wearing multiple hats, that's hustling, that's always trying to work ahead, that it's not just his instrument that is his main thing these days. And you got your own line of products now, right, Feudor? Your drum shields. Can you explain a little bit about what that is for the folks at home, including me, that don't really know what those do?
Yeah, first of all, I wanted to just to tell you about that, where I've learned that about hustling and stuff. So when I came to America, I was just playing drums only. And there in States, I've learned that everyone is hustling all the time, you know. I remember I met a drum tech for a huge band, huge American band, touring all over the world. And I was really surprised when I've discovered that he's also running his swimming pool cleaning service at the same time. Because when he's not on tour, he's doing that. So yeah, right now I'm thinking like, yeah, you always have to have some side hustles, and I'm telling all my musician friends about that. It's not just playing drums. It might be whatever around music. It's not something different, you know. So I'm doing drum shields, and it's not like a huge plexiglass aquarium or what do you call it, but it's just 24 inches round piece of plexiglass, and you put it on a cymbal stand, so you can adjust the placement and not to close the whole set.
I see. And those are used in live performances to help kind of shield the drums from what the rest of the mics on stage are picking up and stuff like that, right?
Mostly you need it for cymbals, and when you put the whole plexiglass thing in front of a kick drum, you have a reflection from the snare drum, from the kick drum, which is not kind of right, you know, in general.
Sure. I get it. I'm curious now, you know, here in the States, major branding, experiential marketing, major music and concerts, they kind of go hand in hand. And as we're seeing here with, you know, no concerts and live events happening for the rest of the year for many places, at least that's what it's looking like now, at least until maybe there's some sort of a hope for a vaccine and a widespread distribution of that vaccine. Do you see that similar in Russia as far as the music scene itself? Like when you are working, when you are busy and you're playing drums full time, do you see brands having a big presence, you know, Russian brands having a big presence at the events? Do you see experiential, you know, similar to things like when you were with us here in the States and we'd go to events and you'd see there'd be big brand presence at various concerts. Do you guys see that sort of thing in Russia?
Of course, it's all the same here, all the same. Huge brands like, let's say, like food products or whatever, or what do you call it, like T-Mobile or
cellular phones, things like that.
Yeah, things like that. So now it all changes, you know, because let's say you have a YouTube blog and you have a commercials there, you know, what do you call it, like advertisement. So right now it all kind of evolves into something else, you know. And we'll see. You know what I believe in? I believe in the development of VR technologies. And maybe, let's say the quarantine ends tomorrow, but people still have not enough money, to go to Coachella. Actually,
Sure.
I'm super bummed about Coachella being postponed. I was supposed to go there and
Right,
play
you are going to play that. That's correct. Okay, sure. Tell us about that.
yeah, I was supposed to play there like 2 weekends with Russian band Leningrad. So, and it all has been canceled and postponed for October. Super bummed. So what I think, let's say quarantine ends tomorrow. People still saving money, and some of them may not, go to Coachella, even if they were supposed to go there.
Sure. There's going to be hesitation for people that will go out initially, even once the restrictions are lifted. I agree.
Yeah, so that's a huge loss for the promoters, for the bands playing at festivals, not only Coachella. So what about a VR tickets, like virtual thing, something like that, which can cost half of the regular price. Let's say you have a regular ticket like $30 and the virtual one would be like $15. How about that? And you can be in the front row, and we all can be in the front row because it's all virtual. So you have a nice point of view all the time.
It's not to interrupt you. I think that's an interesting idea, just because something I think we're seeing here in America, prior to, of course, the shutdown, was more and more experiential and more brand marketing that's going into the digital realm. That's going more into the virtual digital realm, more and more VR experiences. And those things are things that can be branded. Those are things that can be, kind of piggybacked with sponsors. That's something I think is an interesting perspective, because you're right. I think people are going to be, from a financial standpoint, it's going to be difficult for them to go out even once they can. And once we start seeing these concerts rescheduled and events coming back. But could there be a VR option? Maybe that's your next side hustle, is coming up with that VR option. You know what I mean? And coming up with a way for people to experience those concerts from a virtual perspective. Now, I'm just curious, because you're our first international guest, which I'm really excited about, and you have the ability to give us a little bit of a look into what life is like right now in Russia. And it sounds like it's very similar to what we're going through in the States, where you guys are essentially sheltering in place. So the guys want you at home. Do you see people in masks and gloves? Are there restrictions to going outside? If you just want to go for a walk or get some exercise, like, what does that look like?
Yeah, we have huge restrictions. So first, they just announced that we have a week of like non-working week. So they suggested everyone to stay at home, just and wait, But everyone went outside, and barbecued and stuff like that. So, and the infection kind of spread more and more and more and more. So, and then they added like huge and like restrictions. But I think that's connected with, I'm not into conspiracy thing, but it smells like, 1984, Orwell's, have you read it?
What's that now? 1984?
Yeah.
No, I'm not familiar, to be honest with you.
Well, that's a great book about, you got to check it out. That's awesome. That's just what is happening mostly in China right now, and maybe in Russia also. So they invented some kind of like QR codes, which you need to have with you when you're out of your house. And I think that's not connected with the coronavirus, Let's say I have COVID-19, so I have that QR code and I went out and I still keep spreading the infection, what's the point? So I think we have like two huge things going on here. One is the infection, and another one is that they want to change the whole, order of things, here in the country.
I know what you're saying, man. I mean, there's definitely a lot of conspiracy theories that are similar to what's happening here in the States. I think the truth probably sits somewhere in the middle. I think right now the most important thing for people to do is what you said earlier when we first started talking, is to just focus on taking care of themselves, their loved ones, and each other, and really try to be united as people. I feel like what's happening is we're getting more and more divided. I think our country, and I think our world was more divided than it's ever been going into all this. And so for whatever reasons that, COVID-19 is upon us, I think it really lays in our hands of how we choose to respond to it and not react to it, because it's something that I think people could spend their energy over conspiracies. It could spend their energies of the political agenda of, and who's benefiting from this or not. But I feel like right now, especially as it relates to the event business, where, we're all just trying to figure this out. That's part of why I feel like what we're doing here is important. And that's creating the dialogue amongst each other and keeping at least some solidarity so that we're looking into the future together. So it's something that, these are unprecedented times that will, out of doubt, we will get on the other side of it, and that will be worldwide. And the time will come that we can all look at this and hopefully say that we've become better from it, and that we've been able to pivot and kind of get in front of what's going to happen next. And as far as the event industry, it sounds like you guys are in a very similar position than we are. And I think that's kind of a worldwide thing right now. And really only time will tell. But Feudor, I want to thank you for taking time to talk with us today. And for any of you out there interested to see what Feudor is up to, check out his chops. He's one of the most talented drummers I've ever seen. That is the truth, my good man. You can find Feudor on Instagram. That's at Feudor, Feudor, Lockshin, Lokshin. And I always enjoy talking with you, my good man. And please feel free to come join us another time here on EventSpeak with me, Big John. You can find us at www.eventspeak.com. Of course, Beyond Experiential is my thing. We'll talk to you next time here on EventSpeak. Please take care of yourselves and each other.
Bye-bye.